Pete Davidson is currently Hollywood's #1 bachelor and has dated some of the most beautiful women in the world, including the likes of Ariana Grande, Kate Beckinsale, and now Kim Kardashian. But many celebrities have also warned us about Pete's problematic behavior, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. First up, Dan Crenshaw. Part of being a comedian is knowing what is crossing the line and what isn't. Pete got some major backlash on SNL after he made fun of politician Dan Crenshaw for wearing an eye patch. Even worse, Crenshaw got the eye patch while fighting in the army overseas. According to ABC News, former Navy SEAL Dan Crenshaw, quote, lost his right eye when an IED exploded during a tour of Afghanistan in 2012. Many comedians would make a point not to make fun of a person with a disability, but Pete did not feel this way and trashed him on SNL. Davidson said during a 2018 episode of the show, quote, you may be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. He then added, quote, I'm sorry, I know he lost his eye in a war or whatever. Even fellow SNL cast member Kenan Thompson felt a line was crossed and said on the Today Show, quote, I personally would never necessarily go there, but it's tough when you're fishing for jokes. Davidson and Crenshaw were able to make amends, and Crenshaw was even featured on an episode of SNL the week after the scandal, where he said some jokes at Pete's expense. Greg Yuna. We all know that Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson went through a hot and heavy romance that even led to an engagement at one point, but it did not last, and after only 5 months of being together, Pete and Ariana split. There was a lot of controversy with the relationship, and from the timeline it seemed like there might have been some cheating when it came to the relationship. A jeweler named Greg Yuna even came forward exposing that Pete wanted a ring in May of 2018. Only a week before Pete and Ariana were official, Pete was in a 4-year relationship with Cazzie David, and there's a potential that Pete bought a ring for Cazzie but ended up giving it to Ariana. After news of Pete and Ariana's engagement was made public, celebrity jeweler Greg Yuna revealed that Davidson reached out to him about a $93,000 engagement ring back in May of 2018. He said, quote, Pete called me at the end of May and said, look, I'm getting a ring. This is what I want, and I told him that I had the right ring for him. He didn't tell me who it was for, but told me to keep it a secret. He didn't tell me anything about it. The reason this is strange is because Cazzie and Pete announced their split on May 16th of 2018, so it's hard to tell if the ring was purchased for Cazzie or if he bought Ariana the ring before things were finished between him and Cazzie. Next up, Cazzie David. Cazzie was in a long-term relationship with Pete for 4 years before they split, and he publicly moved on to Ariana. At the time, she played it off, acting cool about his public relationship, but in a 2020 interview, she recalled just how difficult it was for her. While speaking with the LA Times, she shared more about their relationship and said that she constantly had to convince him that she loved him. She also revealed that she was the one that ended the relationship because it was becoming too toxic, but apparently a few days after the split, she called him and wanted him back, to which he declined. At that point, he was already with Ariana. Cazzie says she was devastated and, quote, shook uncontrollably in her father's arms during a flight to her sister's college graduation. She added that she couldn't stop thinking about Davidson and Grande immediately falling in love, accompanied by an audio of her baby voice whispering sweet nothings in his ear, dubbed over his past declarations of love and trust to me. Next up, Kanye West. Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian have been spending a lot of time together recently, and many think the pair are officially dating. Kim used to be married to Kanye West, who was also friendly with Pete at one point in time, so fans think that Pete is breaking bro code by being with Kim. Kanye apparently also hates that Kim is getting handsy with Pete while out in public. In one resurfaced SNL clip, Pete poked fun at Kanye on a Weekend Update skit years before his date with Kim. Pete joked that Kanye was off his meds and needed to start taking them again. Pete also told Kanye that being mentally ill is not an excuse to be a jackass. Pete also put on a MAGA hat that read, quote, make Kanye 2006 again. Then a photo resurfaced of Kanye and Pete out to dinner together at Nobu in 2019. The pair were joined by Kim, Kid Cudi, and Timothée Chalamet. Kim shared 3 photos of the unlikely group smiling while seated around a dinner table at the time, writing, quote, happy birthday Kid Cudi, which confirmed that Kanye and Pete were friendly. A source told Hollywood Life that Kanye has commented on Kim and Pete's new romance. The source said, quote, Kanye was really put off by Kim holding hands with Pete and he did not like it at all. He asked Kim to, quote, please refrain from showing public displays of affection with anyone until their divorce is finalized. The source even added that Kanye has contacted Kris Jenner for info on the new relationship, but she won't give a straight answer. Next up, Ariana Grande. Following the breaking off of their engagement, Ariana is probably the person with the most to say about Pete. They had a 5-month relationship in 2018 that had a bitter end, and their rocky romance gave Ariana the inspiration for her hit album, Thank You Next. Ariana opened up more about their relationship in a 2019 interview with Vogue. Apparently, her friends convinced her to spend the summer in New York after her breakup with Mac Miller. That's where she met Pete. Ari said that she loved Pete, but the relationship was, quote, frivolous and insane, and admitted that she, quote, didn't know him, despite agreeing to marry him, even calling the relationship, quote, an amazing distraction, adding, it was frivolous and fun fun and insane and highly unrealistic, and I loved him and I didn't know him. These comments rubbed Pete the wrong way, and he clapped back in his Netflix comedy special called Pete Davidson, A Live from New York. He got some flack for talking about their relationship, and he responded, quote, "Where did she say this stuff? To her friends in the confidence of her own home? No, she said it on the cover of Vogue magazine. Can you imagine if I did that? My career would be over tomorrow if I spray painted myself brown and hopped on the cover of Vogue magazine and just started shitting on my ex." And lastly, Pete Davidson himself. During his relationship with Ariana, the public uncovered some controversial jokes made by Davidson. Some were even at Ariana's expense. Back when they were madly in love, Pete joked about switching Ari's birth control pills with Tic Tacs so that he would be tied to her forever. The joke was told while Pete was talking about how Ariana was the breadwinner in their relationship. He said, quote, "I live at her place, she pays like 60 grand for rent, and all I have to do is stock the fridge." Then Davidson spoke about how the man doesn't always need to be the breadwinner in a relationship, adding, quote, "Last night I switched her birth control with Tic Tacs. I believe in us and all, I just want to make sure that she can't go anywhere." Then it was uncovered that after the tragedy at Ariana's Manchester concert that left 23 of her fans dead, Pete made a tone-deaf joke about it. According to The Mirror, in fall of 2017, Pete joked that Ariana must have realized how famous she was after the attack because, quote, "Britney Spears didn't have a tragedy at her concert." Yikes. Ariana came to his defense and told fans that he uses comedy to make people feel better, but her fans still didn't accept the excuse. This is one of many inappropriate jokes that Pete has made over the years. He was also known for oversharing in his relationship to Ariana, and he would talk about their intimate life in public, which Ariana did not like. So that's all for the list. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out some comments from top 10 biggest celebrities who were arrested this year. MLG Gamer said, "I know that DaBaby has been arrested before, but I didn't know he got arrested this year. That's news to me. I now completely forget why he was arrested, but honestly it doesn't shock me with all the stuff he gets up to." Then Prep For It said, "All of them can stay in prison except for Alyssa Milano. She was just protesting and hurt the cops' feelings when she refused to leave." Yeah, I didn't realize that you could, I guess you can go to, they can arrest you if you're kind of like being disorderly in public and you're protesting if they don't want you to be there. Very interesting, but I'm sure she was let out, very soon after. Then Mary Beth said, "Celebrities are often seen as role models and are looked up to by people of all ages for a number of reasons. It's so sad when those people choose to go down the wrong path because those who admire them may also make poor decisions based on the actions of their perceived hero." Definitely very good sentiment on that. Alright guys, that is all for the video today. Thanks so much for sticking around. I've been your host Mackenzie Smith, and we'll catch you in the next one. Then he and Ariana got engaged. Whoa. Then he and Ariana got engaged on June 9th. So